Feelings Over Facts podcast. I am your host, Zach Simmons, here with my co-host, Daniel Jones, a.k.a. DJ. DJ, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling good, man. How are you feeling? It's been a minute.
I'm feeling good, We're back from vacation, back and better than ever.
Indeed
we are ready here with episode 15.
Boys went down to the boys went down to your end of the country in Florida. Had a great nail pie.
Came down to Florida, a little beach vacation, some much needed time. It was fantastic.
It was.
But we're back. We're back to the grind. We got the NFL season starting up here in just a few days. Honestly, it's not too long at all. They'll be kicking off Lions versus Chiefs week 1. Starting up here soon. I'm getting excited. How are you? You excited, DJ?
Isn't it like a week from now or 2 weeks from now?
I think it might be 2 weeks from today, actually. Yep.
2 weeks.
2 Thursdays. We're so close. Yet so far.
Indeed.
All right. Thank you all for joining us once again. Back for episode 15. If you wouldn't mind, go ahead and give us a subscribe on YouTube at youtube.com/feelingsoverfacts podcast, as well as give us a follow on TikTok and Instagram at feelingsoverfactspod. We just surpassed 100 Instagram followers. We are over 50 YouTube subscribers, so the Feelings Over Facts podcast army is growing. So jump on in, get part of the community. And we're going to be doing some fun community stuff whenever the NFL season gets started. Maybe we'll do a Feelings Over Facts survivor pool, DJ. We'll post it on our Instagram, see if who can be the last person to pick a team that doesn't lose. I like survivor pools. They're a lot of fun, especially the ones where whenever you pick a team, they get eliminated and you can't use them again. Those are the most fun.
Makes it fun. Makes the strategy a little bit more tactical.
Yep, indeed. So maybe we'll do a Feelings Over Facts community survivor pool. So look out for that.
And we'll talk about what the reward could be.
There we go. Yeah, we'll do some scheming. We'll figure it out. It'll be great. All right. So that's enough of that stuff up top. This episode, we are discussing 2 more divisional previews. We are coming in hot this week with some Eastern boys. Got the NFC East and the AFC East. These are 2 extremely good divisions, DJ. One division had 3 teams make the playoffs last year, and the other had 2. So 5 out of these 8 teams made the playoffs last year. So these are 2 very good divisions that we're discussing today. So very excited to dive into this and see where we each have them labeled. We're going to be going through putting them 1 through 4 in the NFC East and the AFC East. And DJ, let's start with the NFC East. How do you want to do this? You want to go 4-1 or 1-4? I think we did 4-1 last time.
We did 4-1 last time, so let's just continue that trend. Why don't we?
Let's do it.
All righty.
So give me your 4th team.
The 4th team I have in NFC East is of right now, and my prediction for the rest of the season. Main reason why is because we have a unproven quarterback. Yes, he did look good in this last preseason game on Monday night against the Ravens, where they beat the Ravens to ruin their preseason undefeated streak since 2015. Super, super important streak that no one,
cares
about.
Yeah.
But
longest preseason win streak ever. It's a big deal.
Yeah. Come on now. How many Super Bowls did that help you win? I don't know.
Yeah.
But I'm going with the Commanders as 4th. This team's got a solid receiving core and have a really solid defensive line. Besides that, there's a lot of question marks that I questioned to see where they're going to go this year with it. I want to see how some of this youth pans out. They've also lost a couple of big names to certain teams. Cole Holcomb, who is on the Steelers now, who I am a big fan of. I think is a solid middle linebacker who covered the middle of the field, and I'm interested to see who they kind of take over for it. I do like Emmanuel Forbes, the rookie out of Mississippi State. I think he is a dog and could solidify that defensive back room a little bit better than it was prior to this season, which they struggled mightily last year. So I have the Commanders last in the NFC East.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I also have the Commanders football team, Washington guys, in fourth as well. Really hard to put them any higher than this over the other three teams, in my opinion. I don't see a world where they could finish higher than this. In soccer, there's a thing called the new manager bump. This is where a team bands together and they get all excited to go out and play for their new manager because they finally got rid of their old one. They got rid of old ownership, DJ. And that's kind of what the Commanders are going through this season. They've gotten rid of Dan Snyder. They've got some new ownership in, and I think that this team could band together, and they've got that going for them. The only downside is that that's about the only thing they've got going for them. Sam Howell is, I think, a good young quarterback. I think he could pan out to be a NFL caliber quarterback, but I do not think he's going to be great. I do not see him as being an elite level quarterback. And Ron Rivera is a great coach, but I don't think that Howell is good enough that Rivera can kind of overcome that. So it's hard to put them higher than here. They do have, as you mentioned, a great defensive line, some good young receivers with McLaurin and Jahan Dotson. But I've got them in fourth, just like you. Can't really put them any higher.
I also want to talk about their schedule for a little bit. You kind of let off that both divisions we are talking about tonight are pretty tough. Well, you have to play all your division rivals twice. Plus, you're playing the NFC or the AFC East this year, so that's not easy at all. They also have to play. They also have to host San Francisco. That's a tough game. I mean, this isn't an easy schedule by any means. I think their easiest game is going to be Week 1 against the Cardinals, and then after that, it's kind of a slot of just really good teams. Like I think the Broncos are going to be better this year. Then they have to play Buffalo and then go to Philly after that. That's a tough 3-game slate. Going 2 Mile High, then Buffalo back at home, then back to Philly. Like that's not easy.
That's as tough as a stretch can get, honestly.
That's the first. That's the week 2 through 4 right there after the Cardinals. So they should start the season off 1-0, but after that, I could expect, not really expect, I could see them being 1-3 after the first 4 weeks.
Definitely. Yeah, totally. That makes a lot of sense. They do have a tough schedule, which is not good for young and inexperienced quarterbacks. Not a good recipe for success there. So there we go. We got the Commanders at fourth. I will go ahead and go with my third team. I do have your New York Football Giants here at third. Second year under Brian Daboll, I think is going to be big. He showed last year that he's a really good coach. I think that was a big question mark coming into the season last year is can he be a head coach? And I think all questions were answered there. They were a fantastic team. The roadmap to success for the Giants, for extreme success, they're going to need Daniel Jones to just ascend into star QB territory. If he can get up there into that, then you're looking at some real success for the Giants. But I personally just don't believe that he'll ever get to that. So I think he's a good quarterback. I think that we're looking at someone who is getting paid this offseason. I think that he's kind of taken the Kirk Cousins route where he's just good enough to get starting QB contracts where people are like, how in the world is he making that much money? It's where he's just good enough where he's getting starting QB deals, but he's not really good enough where I'm ready to call him a quarterback that can really bring this team to success. I think what they're missing, what they should have addressed more this offseason, is a star receiver, or at least upping the receiving core more. I mean, they got Darren Waller, which is, I'll count him as a receiver. I mean, he catches a lot of passes. He's a great receiving tight end. But he is getting up there in age, and they don't really have much else in this receiving room. Shepard's all right. Richie James is okay. He's a good young receiver. But a quarterback like Daniel Jones, to be successful in the passing game, needs elite receiver talent. So I do like the pick out of the receiver out of Tennessee. I think that he could be really good, but kind of an unknown at the moment. I got to go Giants at 3 in this division.
That's also who I have at 3. To kind of hit on the receiver point that you were making, I think a lot of it is very similar type receivers. You don't really have that big guy. I mean, their tallest receiver is Isaiah Hodgins, who played a little bit last year due to their injury history. But I mean, Hyatt's a speed threat. Robinson's got speed. Sterling Shepard's kind of your underneath guy now with his age being 30 now, which is crazy to think that Sterling Shepard's 30 because I remember when that guy came out of Oklahoma.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they don't have the big, tall receiver to go over the top and kind of make those contested catches per se. I would say that Darius Slayton's similar to that, but they don't have that game breaker. So I'll agree with you on that. But I think they did help the receiving core this year with that Hyatt pick. I think Hyatt's going to be a little bit better than people will give him credit for off the rip, personally. This offensive line, I'm curious to see how they play this year. I feel like last year they showed signs of coming together as a group, but I don't remember statistically how they did, but I still think that there's room for improvement. You know, Evan Neal and Andrew Thomas are still two real young tackles to book in. And I think they did a good job of building up this defense to kind of help out the offense not have to carry it as well. I think that Thibodeau is looking really good for a great season this next year. The guy made Ike Okongwu, who is a very good tackle prospect for Carolina, look like a scrub, and that's not easy to do. I think this D-line in general is good when you have Dexter Lawrence alongside in the middle. And a lot of my question for this team is, can they was it a flash in the pan, like you said? Is Daniel Jones an elite quarterback? I tend to think not. Obviously, I think that you had to pay him last year because of his play. He played out of his mind. Is his best year as a pro. I was like, where's this Daniel Jones been at this whole career? Because we've seen flashes of him being able to throw or to run the ball really well, but not necessarily like make good decisions, throw darts down the field and just hit people perfectly. And I've liked what I've seen from Daniel Jones, but I want to see it on a more consistent basis. Is it more than just a 1 year flash in the pan? Also, the Giants having breaking news, trading for Isaiah Simmons from the Arizona Cardinals today for a 7th round pick. Whatever you feel about Isaiah Simmons, some people are saying he's already bust. I tend to agree with that because you were like a top 10 pick, I believe. I think he was like number 9 to the Cardinals.
Yeah.
He hadn't done anything, and he hasn't been amazing. But he's gonna.
Right.
But one of our friends said that he's going to be better than not having, or he's going to be better than any 7th round pick that you have right now or going to have next year. So I like the move for the Giants. I think he's versatile enough where they can kind of move him, and maybe a new scenery could be good for him. You know, show that he's still got something to offer this league in general.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good aggressive trade, I think, for a team that seems like they're trying to be competitive right now. Obviously, Isaiah Simmons did not pan out to the first round pick that he was taken, but he will be better than any 7th round pick that you could draft next year. But he also could be more expensive because they, I think, traded him because they didn't want to pay him. So,
I mean, the Giants, all they lost was a 7th-round pick, and then if he's just a 1-year loan, then he's on the free agent market, and you didn't really lose too much. Personally, that's why I look at it as. I don't think it's it's a low risk, high reward for the Giants, because like if he does work out, cool. Then you look at the trying to pay him, but if he doesn't, and you let him walk, and you only lose a 7th-round pick for someone that is. We can at least admit that Isaiah Simmons is an athletic freak, which he is. So
Definitely.
I'm interested to see how that pans out, and I think he could be really good for the Giants if he's, 1, healthy, 2, doesn't make too many bonehead decisions. So
Yeah,
I
no
still
doubt.
have
I like the trade.
I have the Giants in 3 as well, like I was saying, but I have them missing out on the wild card. I don't see them being a playoff team this year.
Yeah, I'm right there. I'm right there with you. I don't see 3 teams in this division making the playoffs again, personally, even though this is a good division. DJ, who you got at 2?
I have what some people call America's team at number 2, the Dallas Cowboys, who, honestly, I don't feel great about the Dallas Cowboys for 2 reasons. One is Dak. I don't trust Dak to take care of the ball. He showed last year that he's prone to throwing interceptions, and he really hasn't changed that in training camp this week or this year at all. The last couple of weeks, I just keep constantly seeing interceptions thrown by him and decisions being made that make me question what's he doing. Where's his eyes at? As a quarterback, you're supposed to be able to see this. You've been in the league for how many years now? His 8th year. I'm looking at it right now. It's just one of those things where you expect more than what we're seeing so far. And I think some of it's mental, and maybe he's just trying to press too hard still. And as a quarterback in the NFL, yes, you have to make the play, but also there's times where you have to realize, hey, take a sack, throw the ball away, live for the next day. And I think Dak hasn't been doing that this the last couple of years since that injury, because I think he's trying to make up for time and show, hey, people, like the contract wasn't worth nothing. Like I'm worth it. As much as you say, athletes don't think about that stuff. I think they do sometimes. The other reason why I don't like this team is because I think they have a dummy of a coach in Mike McCarthy. I don't think he's a very good head coach. Honestly, if I was Jerry Jones, I'd be trying to get Dan Quinn to become the head coach of the Cowboys, because look what he's done with that defense. This team is being led by their defense. I don't care what anybody says. This defense has just got some dogs on them. D-Law, you got Micah Parsons. Just those 2 alone, they just paid Trevon Diggs.
Trayvon Diggs, yeah.
So they picked up Stephon Gilmore. I really like the secondary in general, also with their safeties, mainly Malik Hooker, because I think that guy was a 1st-round pick for a reason, and the only reason why he didn't work out in Indy is because he kept getting hurt. But he's been healthy. He's been good since they got picked up. I've seen a lot of good things from him. And this defense is going to carry this team again. And if you're a Cowboys fan, what you need to hope for is that Dak doesn't throw you out of games and keeps your defense on the field for longer. That's what worries me about the Cowboys. I still do have them as a wild card team. I still have them second in this division because the talent's there. They have a good receiving core. I really like the Brandon Cooks pickup. I like CeeDee Lamb. Michael Gallup, I think, is underrated, and I think people will just crap on him because he's not a dog for fantasy. He's a good receiver still, though, and I think he's a vital piece to this offense. So what happens with Tony Pollard when he comes back? Is he going to be 100%? Who's going to be the guy, the bell cow until then? We'll see. But I like the Cowboys still as a wildcard team. I think this division is going to be competitive, and I definitely could see the Giants being right on their tail and the Cowboys having to pull off a couple big wins at the end of the season to solidify a wild card spot. So that's what I have them.
Yeah, fair enough. I will hold off on my Cowboys takes for now because I have the Eagles at 2 in this division. The former NFC champion, Philadelphia Eagles, at number 2 in this division. And I think that may be considered a little bit of a hot take to not win this division, as they are heavily favored as of right now. I think that we saw, I mean, it's hard. I don't want to discredit the Eagles for what they did last year, but a lot of what I'm about to say is going to discredit them. So, you know,
You don't
fair
want me to
enough.
say what I'm going to say, but I'm going to say it anyway.
It doesn't make it any less true. So, on their route to the Super Bowl, where they played Patrick Mahomes, they played two, what I would consider last year to be top 10 quarterbacks. They played Aaron Rodgers and they played Jared Goff. Those are the only two quarterbacks, if you go back and look at their schedule, that they beat. I think they lost to a good quarterback, but I can't remember who it was. And I'm not counting Dak in this because I don't really. He's all right. They never really played any good quarterbacks all the way up until they made it to the Super Bowl. And if you remember in the playoffs, they beat Daniel Jones and then they beat Christian McCaffrey at quarterback. So not really anything there. The first great quarterback that they played their entire season was Patrick Mahomes, and they lost. So they did play a super easy schedule. This year, they're going to be playing a number one schedule. Their schedule is a lot harder if you take a look at it. But this isn't. I still have them at 2, obviously, over the Giants and the Commanders, because this is clearly a stacked team. Like, this is a incredible roster. Like, it's. I mean, as a Titans fan, you may not like him, DJ, but it's hard to refute that Howie Roseman is probably the best GM in the NFL right now. Like, if you look at the way that he's constructed this team, like, it's incredible. This is a freaking great roster just across the board. I think that the challenge that the Eagles are going to be facing this year with coming so close to a Super Bowl and losing is they got to stay healthy and they got to stay motivated. Coming that close and losing, a lot of times that it can be kind of demoralizing to a team, but I don't see that happening. This team, I think that they're definitely going to be in the playoffs again. But I think that they are going to be in for a rude awakening playing such a harsh schedule. And I'm not ready to say Jalen Hurts is an elite quarterback in my mind. I really don't think he's done enough. I know he won 2 playoff games and made it to a Super Bowl, but I'm not really ready to say he's elite, in my opinion.
He was last year's MVP too, wasn't he?
That was Mahomes.
Oh, it was.
Hurts was second. Yeah.
That's right.
So that's my take on the Eagles. I've got them at 2. Do you want to talk about why you have the Eagles at 1? Or would you
I'll
like
let you talk about the Cowboys first.
Yeah, for sure. So I got the Cowboys at 1, in large part just because I do see the Eagles taking kind of a back step this season. And I think that the Cowboys are the best defense in the NFL. 100%. And I'll take it even a step further. I think they had the best defensive player in the NFL. I think Micah Parsons is, at this current moment, the best defensive player in the NFL from what I've seen from him. Watching the way that he impacts the game as a pass rusher, the way that the other team literally cannot ignore where he is and his presence, and he still is attacking the quarterback like he is. I haven't seen anything like that in a long time, since maybe J.J. Watt, honestly. He's absolutely incredible. And this defense is stacked around him. As well as they have some of the best skill players in the division as well. I think that CeeDee Lamb is an absolutely incredible receiver from what we've seen. There's not really any refuting that. Tony Pollard is extremely underrated because he's been stuck behind Zeke for so long. Oh, yeah, and they got rid of Zeke, so you got to give him a bump for that as well. So this is just an incredible collection of talent that the Cowboys have around Dak, and it kind of goes to back to what you've said. Can Dak protect the ball? And I think that this season that he will be able to, and that this team is going to win the division. I have no qualms with the Cowboys in the regular season. The last 3 seasons, they've been a great regular season team. They've won over 12 games every single season the last 3 years. But my qualm with them is in the postseason, they usually have a lot of struggles. So, but we're just talking about who we think is going to win the division, and I think that that's going to be the Cowboys.
So, well explained there, Zach. Well explained.
Thank you.
Personally, I don't know how you don't put the Eagles first, just based on roster construction. I don't hate Howie Roseman at all. It's not his fault that he got the call. Hey, yeah, we'll trade you AJ Brown for a first round pick. That's cool. I have no problem with that. He's not an idiot. That's what that means. I think they have one of the best receiver duos in the league with Devontae Smith and AJ Brown.
For sure.
Dallas Goedert is a very good tight end in this league. Their offensive line is the best offensive line in football, bar none, hands down. Their running back situation right now is not as good as it was in years prior. Some people would disagree with that. Some would agree with that. I don't love their running back room, but I do love this offensive line, and I think that if you put anybody that is intelligent and has a good feel for run gap assignment and trying to bounce and use the blocks to his advantage and be patient, I think that they could have a good run game regardless. That includes with Jalen Hurts, who is a very good dual threat quarterback, who showed last year that he's a good dual threat quarterback. I do agree that I want to see it on a consistent basis. It's similar to where Daniel Jones is, but it's not the same, because I do think that Jalen Hurts is way better than Daniel Jones. I don't think it's close. I think if active quarterbacks, Jalen Hurts is at top 10 right now, personally. But the part of the team I want to talk about the most, without trying to drool too much, looking at the roster right now, it's their defensive line. This D line is going to be nasty, even after some of these big veteran players leave, like a Fletcher Cox, like a Brandon Graham. Them getting Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, and Nolan Smith. This team is set for the next 10 years to have a elite defensive front seven. Also, them having the Kobe Dean actually get to play, which I still don't understand why he dropped as much as he did. Maybe because he's undersized. I think that this front seven this next year is going to be nasty. Just nasty. Just get after quarterbacks, get after running backs. It's going to be hard to do anything against this team in general. And I thought last year they had a good year defensively, but I think this year is going to be even better. This team's just a nasty team, front to bottom, or top to bottom, whatever you want to call it. This team is. I agree with you that this schedule is tough, so I do think there's a little bit of a drop off. I don't know if they are the outright number one seed in the NFC, and the reason why is because of that schedule. I mean, I'm going to tell you a little bit of the schedule. Just week 9 through 14. They play the Cowboys and they go on the bye on week 10. Then they have Kansas City on Monday night at Kansas City. Then they host Buffalo. Then they host the 49ers, and they go back to Dallas.
Sheesh.
That is a murderer's row of talent right there on this football team. Just good football teams, great games. As a consumer of the sport, I'm going to be excited because that's awesome football right there.
Yeah.
But man, what a slate. That is tough. That's a tough group of games. That man, if they're over 500, that is a victory in my opinion. Because man, sheesh, that is the cream of the crop right there.
It's about as tough as it gets.
So that's why I have the Eagles number one. Though is I think this team's just too good. I think they've worked well. They work well together. They have good chemistry. Last year wasn't a fluke in any means necessary. I think after the AJ Brown pickup, it just kind of it's just weird that one receiver solidified for it. But I just like, oh, this team's going to win the division and be a Super Bowl contender. So I just see this.
Just kind of all came together for him like so fast.
And I still think that this team is there.
Yeah,
personally,
respectable take. I think that. I mean, the Eagles are just an incredible roster. You put them at the top of this division. There's not really any arguments against it. I just see the Cowboys topping them this year just because I think that the Eagles are going to struggle with that hard schedule. Like you said, right. That is our NFC East right there. We both have Commanders Giants at 4-3. I have the Eagles at 2, Cowboys at 1. DJ has the Cowboys at 2, Eagles at 1. We will see what happens. Alrighty. On to the AFC East. I think that this one's gonna. What I have the order for this one's really gonna surprise you, DJ.
Okay, well,
I
I'll let
think
you go
that
first then.
I think I got not number 4. Number 4, I have the Patriots.
I
3
promise you
through
this
1.
I promise you this is going to be surprising, except number 4.
Yeah, 3 through 1 I think is going to surprise you. Number
Okay.
4, I've got the Patriots, aka the most boring team in the NFL. I think that's been my take for a while now, that this team is just like, if you ask me, you can watch any team in the NFL play. Who would you want to watch?
Without any bias.
Without any bias.
Okay.
There's no way I would ever choose a Patriots game this season. This is just like a team I just have no care to watch. I think that they've got one thing going for them, and it's that they still have one of the best coaches in the NFL, Bill Belichick, one of the best defensive mind in football we've ever seen. The catalyst for a lot of their success, obviously. And I think he's probably coming up close to retiring here soon. You got to think. And I think that the one thing they've got going for him is maybe they got one last hurrah for Bill that could push them to maybe being a playoff team. But honestly, I don't really see it. I think that this division is so tough that the Patriots are honestly going to be the punching bag for this division. And what I mean by that is every time one of these teams in the division comes up against the Patriots, they might see it. I think they are going to see it as a must-win game, because they're going to see it as like, if we can't get divisional wins from the Patriots, then the other two teams are going to be incredibly difficult to get divisional wins. So they're definitely going to have their work cut out for them there within their own division. And last point that I will say about the Patriots, I think this is Mac Jones' last chance. I think that this is the last year he gets. After this, I don't ever see him being a starting quarterback again. So, Patriots in 4 for me.
I have to tend to agree that the Patriots are 4 for me. I do think this is a tougher team than people give them credit for. I think that Bill's going to get this team fighting for a wild card spot, actually. Still being 4th in this division, just because
I think
that's
they make the wild card.
No, I'm not saying they're a wild card team at all. No, that's not what I'm saying. I said
fighting for a wild card.
Fighting for a wild card. It's still a Bill Belichick coach team, and the schedule isn't. It's not easy by any means. I mean, that this division, top to bottom, is very tough. Like we said, they have to play against the NFC East, like we were just talking about. They have to play against the Chiefs and the Chargers and that entire division as well. That is tough. That is a tough test. This test for Bill Belichick. I do think that this defense is still going to be very good. Mainly because of Bill Belichick. I think that this offense, you can't really get much worse than you did last year with who you had running the offense. And I still don't understand what Bill was thinking. I think he just wanted to hire some buddies of his, and Joe Judge and Matt Patricia. And hey, you were coaches for me at one point, so let me just throw you in here, and just because I know that you know how I like how to do things. And it didn't work. Shocker. I actually think that Mac Jones plays well this year. I think that last year he played frustrated. I think that Bill O'Brien worked at Alabama the last couple of years. He didn't work with Mac, but I think that relationship of him working under Nick Saban will help Mac in the aspect that he knows what to look for when you have a player that played under Nick Saban. I think this is a good fit for Bill O'Brien and Mac Jones. I think that you're going to see him playing better. You're going to see him lighting it up a little bit more, maybe having better chances. And also, they have a good run game, I think. Ramondre Stevenson is solid. I'm interested to see how this Ezekiel Elliott pickup's going to go, though. Didn't really understand it. I didn't think that this was a great spot for Zeke, but he's here.
Zeke's always been a good goal line back. He's always been good at getting in the end zone. I think that a lot. I think they're going to use him a lot for that.
I don't disagree, but Zeke's got that ego in him, and I think that he's going to want to get more touches than just the goal line. So he's going to start running his mouth, and Bill doesn't do well with players running their mouths. They don't stay there long if that's the case. So, and to top off that, I was saying that I think Mac plays good this year. I don't love his receiving core. I mean, Juju Smith-Schuster couldn't even get over 1,000 yards with Patrick Mahomes throwing to him. Devontae Parker, man's just kind of there. And then after that, it's Kendrick Bourne. After that, it's even more like Traquan Thornton, a second-year receiver who we haven't seen much of. So basically, they're going to be relying on Gesicki and Hunter Henry.
Bonate? Who's the guy at LSU? Did they draft that guy?
Yes, they did. His name is Kayshon Boutte.
Boutte, yes. They drafted him late. He was projected to be kind of a top receiver, and he kind of fell off, I think, because of injuries, right?
He had off-the-field issues, too. But I haven't seen anything from him this season, this preseason, that's shown like, oh, yeah, he's got it. Maybe that's just me not seeing enough Patriots preseason games, because like you said, they are boring, and they are very, keep things close to the vest. So, maybe I didn't see anything that he did because no one's talking about Patriots games. But, I mean, yeah, he is a young guy. Yes, he has talent. But we haven't heard anything about him in a while since he got drafted. I thought he was kind of a late steal. And I was like, oh, the Patriots will use him really well because he's kind of a Swiss Army knife. You can put him on the outside, inside. He's got speed. He can jump up with anybody.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of question marks for this team on the offensive side of the ball. I think their most stable is their running backs and tight ends. So what happens after that? Like, people in the NFL know how to shut those positions down. So Bill's going to have a lot, both Bills, Bill O'Brien and Belichick, to figure out how to get this offense off the ground and into this century, not the medieval, run it through dirt. Like, well, it was like five yards.
40 carries a game.
And I say that as a Titans fan, and I'm saying that they should get out of that. But they don't have Derrick Henry as a running back, so sorry,
they do not.
Your offense isn't going to be as well worked as the Titans is, and I can't believe I'm saying that.
Exactly. All right, on to 3. DJ, this is where my takes in this division gets hot.
This is where the stuff hits the fan, as they say.
Oh, yeah.
But fill out the stuff part.
Mm-hmm. I've got the Buffalo Bills at 3.
Saw that coming.
Saw that coming.
Not saying that not saying it's not a hot take. I'm just saying I saw that coming from somebody. It's either going to be you or me.
Guessing you don't have them at 3.
Well, we'll see.
Oh yeah, I guess we'll see. I mean, this team has been extremely loud this offseason. And usually when teams are extremely loud, whenever football is not being played, is not a good sign, typically. You have your star receiver not showing up to practice. The head coach saying that he is not aware of why he's not showing up. Stephon Diggs is now, as I'm referring to, he's now back, but it seems like the situation is weird. I have a lot of qualms with this team just because everyone sees them as such a favorite and such a real Super Bowl contender, but really, what has this team done to deserve that? If you look at their wins and their success, they really don't have anything. I mean, I will say the one thing that they have going for them since in the Josh Allen era is they are the team that played the Chiefs the toughest when the Chiefs had played their A+ game. When the Chiefs played as good as they possibly can, we see the Chiefs usually when they're playing great, they're usually rolling over teams. The Chiefs played as good as they possibly could, and the Bills nearly beat them. It took 13 seconds and a long Harrison Butker field goal for the Chiefs to beat the Bills in that playoff game. One of the best playoff games I've ever seen in my life, honestly. But that's the only thing good that the Bills have done is play the Chiefs tough when they play their A+ game. That's the only thing I can recall. Anything else, they haven't really had much success. And they have coming into the season with a lot of offseason drama. They haven't really gotten better. I felt that they needed to maybe address the wide receiver too. I don't feel like Gabe Davis really is that type of guy that can be a true wide receiver 2 in a pass heavy offense like this. They did bring in Damian Harris. That move's kind of like, it is what it is.
Can't get much worse than Devin Singletary.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, Von Miller will be back. I mean, they have Josh Allen. They're going to be great, but he needs to make a statement because this team, in my eyes, I don't really see them. I don't see them as being better than the other two teams I have above them. That's pretty much just as simple as it is. I like what the other two teams have going for them a lot more. And
That's
I got
fair.
Bills at 3.
So, you know the saying that great minds think alike?
Yeah?
Yeah, I had the Bills 3.
Really?
I did. I agree
You said
completely. I do.
You did or you
I
do?
do. I do.
Oh,
Sorry.
all
I
right.
do. I wholeheartedly agree with Gabe Davis is not that good. I think he benefits a lot from Stephon Diggs getting a lot of attention. I think he's going to get I think that's what's going to happen this year with Dalton Kincaid at the tight end position. He's a purebred pass catching tight end. Not to say he's not good, and that's not to say that's not a bad thing. It's another versatile weapon for them to use, and I think that Stephon Diggs covers up a lot of, hey, like, this guy's not that great. I think a lot of what Gabe Davis does is he's got one-on-one corner, and he just runs down the field faster than most corners. Like, congratulations, you can run fast. Like, okay. Yeah. But I'm not saying that Gabe Davis isn't good, but I'm just like, he's not as good as I think people give him credit for. And have you ever heard of the term social media quarterback?
I have.
I'm starting to think, and a lot of people say that Justin Herbert's a social media quarterback because he hasn't done anything. If we're saying that Justin Herbert's a social media quarterback, then Josh Allen is definitely a social media quarterback. Yeah. I mean, all he's done, yes, he's gotten his team to the AFC title game. You know what quarterback did the same thing? Ryan Tannehill.
Yep.
And they have gotten
Jimmy G.
Jimmy G has gotten to 2 conference finals or conference championship games.
Blake Bortles.
See, like, you're proving my point. Like, I'm not saying he's nowhere. He's way better than all the people we just said as a joke. But achievement wise and franchise quarterback wise, you expect more out of Josh Allen, even if that's fair or unfair to whoever says it. And I'm a massive Josh Allen fan. I thought he was my favorite quarterback coming out of that draft class, on top with Baker and Sam Darnold and Lamar Jackson, Josh Rosen, who's a trash can.
Yeah.
I mean, he was my favorite because of the long ball. He just had to figure out the accuracy problem, which he did, and he's great. Josh Allen is awesome, and he's a tough dude that can run the ball down the field, take a shot, jumps over people. Like, you can't not love Josh Allen, but he is 100% a social media quarterback right now because of all the hype that he gets and none of the results. What's the results? Super Bowl appearances, Super Bowl championships. Buffalo needs a Super Bowl because that fan base has been so robbed of it. I mean, you go to 4 Super Bowls in a row, and you don't win any. Dang. Yeah. So, like, Josh is, like I said, it's as unfair as it could be. I'm calling him a social media quarterback, and I think they're 3rd this year because I do think that they got a little bit worse. That defense took some hits. Edmonds being gone is going to be a big miss. Yes, Matt Milano's still there. Who's going to help him in the middle of the field the rest of the year? This year, like, someone's got to step up, and we haven't seen it yet, so it's not fair to whoever is standing up in that spot saying, like, oh yeah, you can't do it as well as Edmonds did, because Edmonds had his flaws, don't get me wrong. That D-line's still really good too.
Yeah.
But there's just so many question marks on this team now, and it's just what's going to happen. Plus, also, Tre'Davious White, I felt like he wasn't on the field a whole lot last year. I didn't hear his name much at all. So, like, I need
kind of declined a little bit.
He did. So, he's going to have to come back and play well. Are the 2 safeties, Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer, going to play really well this year? Like, this, I completely agree with this team kind of stayed in the same spot. That does not mean they're a bad team. I still think the Bills are a very good team. Worst case scenario for me, in my opinion, is them making the wild card because this team's still that good. but you're
sure.
gonna have to, yeah, and they're still playing tough schedule. It's a tough schedule, so
Yeah. Well, I did not see us agreeing on Bills at 3. I'm going to be completely honest. I
well,
did not see that coming.
let's see what happens in this next one.
All right. My number 2, I have the Miami Dolphins at number 2. Did you agree with me? We'll see. We'll see. We'll
Yeah,
find
we'll
out.
see. Yeah.
All right. Why I have the Dolphins at 2, particularly why I have them ahead of the Bills. I think that whenever people talk about the Dolphins, that the if comes up a lot with this team. If Tua stays healthy, if McDaniels can continue to be a great coach, if the defense can improve. Well, Tua is going to be coming into this season healthy. And I make my projections based on healthiness. And if this team stays healthy, I think that they're a better football team than the Bills. I mean, they beat them last year. And I think they're even better this year. I think that this is, in my opinion, the best receiving duo in the NFL. I think that they're right there. I mean, it's Chase and Higgins, Brown and Smith. I think I would take this duo over either of those duos. And Tua has shown last year that he can be extremely successful in this offense with this all the speed that they have. And they even added an alpha corner, Jalen Ramsey, to strengthen that defense that was so weak last year. And I think that in the NFL, at the end of the day, talent and stars win in this league. And Miami has a heck of a lot of them. So I got the Dolphins at 2.
So I also have the Dolphins at 2. So that means our lists are the exact same. No, we did
We're
not.
in sync on the AFC East.
We didn't. That may be a good thing or a bad thing. We'll find out.
Yeah. Patriots come out and win the division.
It wouldn't surprise me now just because of this. Jeez. Here's the thing. I completely agree that this receiving core or this receiving duo is really good. I'm a massive fan of Waddle. I'm a massive fan of Hill. The reason why I didn't put them over top is can Tua stay healthy, and can they run the ball this year? I don't know if they can run the ball. This running back room is very iffy and gets hurt a lot. Mostert, Wilson, Gaskin. Pretty much their running back room last year was kind of a bunch of nobodies, and then they had to go pick up Jeff Wilson off the streets who got cut by the 49ers, and he played really well until he got hurt too. So,
yeah.
We'll see. I'm
looking
intrigued,
like it's going to be a Mostert-Wilson 50-50 split probably.
which is going to be fine if that's the case, because it's basically them coming over from San Francisco and doing the exact same thing with McDaniel as they did with Shanahan. So, you can't hate that. I think if Tua stays healthy this year, this team is a bona fide wildcard team. And it's going to be a wildcard team no one wants to mess with.
Yeah.
This team's going to be dangerous
For sure.
if they stay healthy. I'm also interested to see how Chosen Anderson or Robbie Anderson or whatever, Robbie Chosen, whatever the hell his name is, I'm interested to see how he plays with this offense and this receiving core. He is a take the top off a defense kind of guy. That could be really, really dangerous because there's only so many people you can cover Waddle and Hill with. So what you going to do after that?
Because of those two guys, he's going to have a lot of single coverage. So
he is, and the guy is wicked fast. He's so fast. So I'm intrigued. I am intrigued by this Dolphins.
Definitely.
Yes.
Well, DJ, we have the same number 1 team in the AFC East. We have the same exact 4. So I guess we'll see how that pans out. I'll go ahead and talk about why I have the Jets at 1. Your New York Football Jets. Joey's Jets, as we call them. So this team, if you go off of PFF, which a lot of people use their analysis based off that, had the worst quarterback play in the NFL last year. And they still won 7 games. And they were still competing in this division. with a guy named Skyler as their quarterback at one point, and Zach Wilson, and Mike White, who was actually pretty good, decent for them. And then, so you're doing pretty decent, pretty good, winning 7 games with absolutely horrible quarterback play. And then you add maybe a lot of people regard him as this, maybe the most talented quarterback we've ever seen in Aaron Rodgers. There's an argument made that he could be the best thrower of the football ever. He could be the missing piece that this team needed to unlock a true championship contending team. In my opinion, Garrett Wilson is looking like he could be the next Justin Jefferson. He is just an absolutely unreal route runner, just spectacular, and he could be to what Devontae Adams was to Rodgers. He could be that for the Jets for him, and I think that he's going to have a lot of success in this off season. So, for being a pretty good team and then improving at the most important position that every team has, the quarterback position, I think could be a huge, successful season for them. I've never knocked Rodgers for his regular season play. He's always been, just as kind of like the Cowboys, always been an amazing regular season player, and the Green Bay Packers were always great in the regular season. Rodgers has just struggled in the postseason recently. And I think that the Jets are going to be really, really good this season. And I have them at 1.
I mean, I obviously agree. Everything you just talked about the offense, I agree with. I'm more intrigued now to see how this receiving core is going to be now that all it is Garrett Wilson and Mecole Hardman, Corey Davis just retired. Not saying Corey Davis was an amazing player or anything, but guy could get open and catch the ball in the NFL and at least do that consistently somewhat. So I'm interested to see how this receiving core is going to be after Garrett Wilson. But, I mean, maybe they think that they don't need anybody after Garrett and they'll just run the ball with Dalvin Cook and Breece Hall. I want to talk about this defense. I think this defense, based just on last year, if they get anywhere near the same production that they did last year on defense, this is a Super Bowl ready defense. This defense is nasty up front. John Franklin Myers. They drafted Will McDonald IV, who I'm interested. Kind of an older rookie. You don't love those, but Carl Lawson. And then you got one of the better
rookies make sense for more of a win now team.
It does. Quentin Williams, one of the better defensive tackles in the NFL right now. I think he's a little bit below Chris Jones and Jeff Simmons, but not by much. He's up there. Like he's shown that he's been worth the number 3 pick in the draft.
Yeah.
And they have some good, decent pass rushers. And I think Carl Lawson's coming off an injury last year or last couple of years, or he hasn't been on the field
last year. Yeah.
He still has the talent to do what is necessary to play in this league. Plus, you have one of the most exciting, one of the best fundamentally and just tall corner. He's probably one of my favorite young players to watch right now in Sauce Gardner. They went and got Adrian Amos, which I think is a steal in the back end room. And Ashton Davis, white boy from Cali. That guy is a dog in the back of the field. I love watching him. The man just takes people's heads off. I don't know how you don't love watching him play, personally. That's just my opinion. Yeah. Plus, also, you still got the veteran, the old school, one of the original linebackers at Alabama, helped us win many national titles. C.J. Mosley, I still think is that guy. He's the quarterback of the defense, really. He's going to be calling all the plays in. He's going to be getting people where they're supposed to be. This team is ready for a run on the defensive side of the ball. All they missed last year, in my opinion, was quarterback, and that's why they went and got A-Rod. So,
yeah,
I'm excited for this team. If you're a Jets fan, I don't know why you wouldn't be excited. This is probably the most exciting season you've had, really, honestly, since the season prior to making the AFC title game again with Aaron Rodgers. Not Aaron Rodgers. What am I saying? Rex Ryan. Sorry.
Right, yeah. Back when they had Revis and Revis Island.
And Mark Sanchez.
Yeah. The Butt Fumble days.
Before
but, yeah.
those.
All right. So we're perfectly in sync on the AFC East. All right. Well done, TJ. That's our Eastern Division preview.
Divisions. Yes, indeed.
Divisions preview. Yes, sir. All right. Let's go ahead and wrap it up with a feeling of the week. Do you want me to go first, or would you like to go?
You go first. Mine's kind of a hot take.
All right. I respect it. Mine might be too. I don't know. I'm eager to see your opinion on it.
I swear if it's the same one, then I'm going to be annoyed.
I don't think it will be. My feeling of the week is that starters should play in the preseason, at least a little bit. That is my feeling of the week. We see it every year with Andy Reid and the Chiefs. They always play their starters at least a little bit in the preseason. And what happens? They win week 1 every single week, every single year. Back to the Alex Smith days. They've won week 1 9 years in a row. They're 9-0 in the last 9 years in week 1.
Was the last time they lost week 1 to the Titans?
I'm not sure on that. I just know that they won the last 9 in a row. Could be. But I think that's because they get their preparation a lot in the preseason. So that's my feeling of the week. I think starters should be playing at least a little bit, especially new starters. Like, I think that's why Aaron Rodgers is going to play in the 3rd preseason game, because he doesn't have a lot of he's not used to this team yet. So
that's fair. I don't mind that one. My feeling of the week, we through these division, breakdowns, we've talked about certain teams already. We haven't hit every single one of them. We still got 2 more episodes really to knock out the rest of it. This is my hot take. He's my dark horse. What's the word? Dark horse MVP candidate. When I say that does not mean I have him winning the MVP, because this would be insane. But what I've seen from training camp and what I've seen him improving on, and his team getting the good weapons that he has, my dark horse and feeling of the week MVP is Kenny Pickett.
Oh my goodness.
I think he's got the
Kenny P.
I think he's got the tools to be a dark horse MVP. That does not mean he's in it the entire year. That does not mean that he's going to be the front runner or any point of the season. I just think he's going to be playing. He's going to light it up this year. And I think he's got the talent to do so. I think he's got the weapons to do so. The only thing I'm worried about with the Steelers is that offensive line. But I see Kenny Pickett being a dark horse MVP.
All right, fair enough. I don't hate it. I love a good dark horse MVP candidate.
Yours is Justin
Kenny
Fields.
Pickett. Be crazy if you called Kenny Pickett MVP in August. That'd be insane.
If that happens, I'm buying a lottery ticket.
Justin Fields is my dark horse MVP.
If that happens, if either of us pick that and they win MVP, we have to go buy a lottery ticket the next day.
Yeah, no doubt. For sure. 100%. All right. From the Feelings Over Facts podcast, I am your host, Zach Simmons. He is my co-host, Daniel Jones, a.k.a. DJ. Good morning and good night.
Peace.